for Pastor Bob Joyce compared to Elvis, who many of us think is the same person, and sort of do a little rebuttal. I guess it's not really a showdown, but it's more of a rebuttal to what Wings of Pegasus channel has said by the content creator named Phil, as I did a little research this morning. And so I heard about Wings of Pegasus from probably 3 to 5 comments over the last year or so that I've seen on this channel, who used Wings of Pegasus as sort of their go-to reference on, well, it can't be EP because, you know, a voice analysis expert using Wings of Pegasus said the voices didn't match. And so basically, if you go to his channel, you're going to see that he's talking about just the sound waves, the waveforms of the vocals of EP versus Bob. And so there's one major reason, before I say what the reason is, why I don't agree with what Phil said on the channel, which, by the way, I have no problem with Phil. Seems like he's doing great work on there as a musician and teacher, mostly about guitar and like guitar song tutorial stuff. So it looks like he's doing fine videos if you want to check it out. But it's okay. So back to the voice analysis. So really the main thing he focuses on in just the one video that he did about Pastor Bob was, like I said, analyzing the differences between the waveforms on the computer. He shows it on the screen. I could do that, but I'm gonna explain to you why it's not really necessary for me to do that. And that's really all he's focusing on. He says that the tones of their voices are similar, the tempo, the style. So he agrees that they're very similar. He even said that the waves of the vibrato were the same, which we all know. They're very similar. So the main reason why I rebut what he's said in a video and don't agree with it is because as you get older, which now EP passing away in 1977, supposedly, that's the official word on the street. That's been about 47 years ago. Your voice changes a lot. We all know from seeing entertainers, singers, as they get older, the voice does not keep up the same, right? I mean, you can, most of the time, keep the guitar and the drums going maybe a little bit longer possibly than the voice, because your vocal cords, these are just muscles up here. And so besides the speed of the vibrato changing, maybe getting slower, probably more than anything, I would just say it's harder to control. So you kind of have to just settle for the best you can do as you get older. And that's just how it is for everybody. So to assume and compare the, what age was EP in 1977, I forget. But to compare 47 years ago or even 30, 40 years ago and assume that they're going to match up to the millisecond, because we're not talking about seconds of space in between the vibrato. We're talking about like slight little milliseconds of speed difference. You can't compare apples to apples like that when you got apples to oranges. It just doesn't work. So, like I said, pretty much everybody agrees that stylistically, tone-wise, the licks and different things, they're like a match. And that voice should not exist twice in the same 50 years or whatever. But that's what we're witnessing and that's what we're hearing. So, and then lastly, to just throw on another cherry on top, Phil on his channel, Wings of Pegasus, like I said, I think he only did the one video even talking at all about Pastor Bob. Everything else is like songs and music and other artists. So to throw another cherry on top, he doesn't even get into or mention any of the other connections, coincidences that most of you here know about Pastor Bob and all the different things, Mar-a-Lago, Trump, George Magazine, Gino, and Family, and on we go. Physical features, there's so many things. But so that's my rebuttal. So for any of you who have used Wings of Pegasus as your voice analysis go-to, again, I think there's really nothing there. And I even compared our bios, me versus him. We actually have a lot of similarities. We're both music teachers and looks like lifelong musicians. But I've also been an audio engineer, although mostly amateur, but 15 years in the Marine Corps as a pianist, band leader, and with some sound studio work, both in the military and privately. But there's just so much there's so much on the table still matching up for EP and Bob compared to not. So I like the negative or skeptical comments, because if it seems like there might be something there, I'll look into it. But almost all of the time, I just find there's nothing there. And lots of times people just see a little video clip and they'll think, oh, they're a voice analysis expert. And they're really not. And this guy, Phil from Wings of Pegasus, is not a voice analysis expert any more than I am. In fact, like I said, I'm trying to explain. I think I have a better perspective to sort of analyze this because I'm looking at the whole picture too, not just one little, not tunnel vision just on sound waves, but the whole big picture as all these things we've been talking about. So I hope that's helpful for some of you. And I just wanted to put this video out there too. So we have the Wings of Pegasus perspective, which I think, like I said, is very limited. And then we have the Matt Savina channel perspective versus Wings of Pegasus showdown, kind of, that is rebutting it. And I feel really good about that rebuttal. So thank you. Thank you very much. So who's out there before I wrap it up? Brenda, hello, and Joy. Yes, I'm feeling quite a bit better. I'm feeling good enough to make some videos, so I'm happy about that. Finished chemo about a month and a half ago. So yeah, I'm still trying to get back to normal with walking, and that's the main issue. But things have improved a lot since the first half of this year, so I'm very thankful for that. And Joy said, I'm 95% sure he's Elvis. Yeah, I always say 99% just because I feel really positive about that. But I'm going to leave that 1% chance of what if. It's just ridiculous coincidence after coincidence. And we know God has a sense of humor. But that's a perfect transition segue into reminding you about my new book that's coming out. Should be July of this year, 2025. So it could be soon, as a matter of fact. But I'll keep you posted on it. The book does cover historical stuff about EP and Bob, and pretty much all of the connections, coincidences that we've been talking about. So it'll be a good reference, something you can look at or share with others if you want, in a more organized fashion than just sending people videos. But more than that, more than all that, it's not just a theory book and talking about that, but it's about how God uses situations like this, mysteries, unanswered questions that we have, on and on in this world. We know there's a lot going on in this world in 2025. And God uses it all to wake us up in different ways, to get us praying, to get us wondering what there is about this. What is it about Pastor Bob? Why are we all drawn to him? Is it just because of these theories? No, it really isn't. It's the gospel message that he's preaching, and it's really been impacting so many of us. And like I just put in a post, I think yesterday, when he did the interview with Gene Ho and George Magazine last year, it was like late 2024. There's a 3-part video that we have on our channel that has the whole interview. Pastor Bob brought up from one of the questions that his new album had 50,000 plus hits in Japan or something like that. And he said it as in, oh, that's a big number, right? But as I've really thought about it and just put it all kind of together since then, I really think that he mentioned that just to not mention how big of an impact the videos have made of even just him preaching and doing the music services online, but the theories as well, because just his channel alone has probably several million hits, as in views. But then if you combine all the theories, which really have got a lot of views about him and EP, I mean, we're probably well into the billions. I don't even know, but it's a crazy high number. When you add in all the different social apps with videos that have been talking about him, it's trending. It really is. And that's why there's been more and more people coming into our community here, asking questions. Every week, I seem to see at least a few people with a comment that's like, wow, it really could be him. And so it's a trending topic, but it's not just because of the theories. It's, sometimes somebody hears his message for the first time or just the music. And then just like myself last year when Pastor Bob's newest album came out, Safely Home, in August 2024, that was I was kind of already believing in the theory at this point, but that kind of sealed the deal. When I downloaded his album and played it, I was outside walking Cassie, just a normal day, and listening to that album, it was just a big wow. Listen to that voice and listen to the band too. The band sound really good. They sound like a pro, a bunch of Nashville players probably, but the voice just blew me away, and the words and the message and everything put together. And it wasn't a product that I would expect to hear from a small town pastor who is just kind of coming out with his first professionally done album, right? Which on the surface, that's what it looks like it's supposed to be. Because his earlier albums, I wouldn't really call them top tier professional. They were just kind of like, we got a studio in town or something, or I know somebody who can help us record sort of thing. They were kind of like small time projects. But Safely Home, that album last year, that was definitely, I can tell you as a musician that the players were selected, like I said, probably Nashville studio musicians. And we've posted pictures of the studio. I forget the name, but it's totally professional studio. And yeah, that album was the real deal. But his voice was still the best part of it. So, okay, I think I'm gonna wrap it up, but that was more than I was planning to talk about. Who else we got here? Gloria, welcome. You're also 99% sure it's Elvis. Yeah, so I agree with that, obviously, like I just said. Thank you. Hi, Elaine. It's all about Jesus. It really is. And so is my book, ultimately. The title and a lot of the content is going to be about EP and Bob. They're sort of the focal point of the conversation, but where the book goes with it and I hope it will remind a lot of people of and bless many of you of is about the gospel and about keeping our eyes on Jesus through all these crazy times that we're going through. One man, one voice. Yeah, I like the quote that this voice should only have existed once, or something like that, meaning we shouldn't be hearing a voice like Elvis again, like within the same 100 years or several hundred years. And here we are, we're experiencing that very thing. Let's see, who was that? Gloria, you saw him first in a video, 2011, Benton's Bar in Benton, Arkansas. Yeah, 2011 or 2012, one of those two. That was another video that was definitely made a lot of people, well, got a lot of views. A lot of people seen that video, maybe first, but just, yeah, wow. An American Trilogy. Is that Elvis singing that? Because it sounds exactly like him. And it's not one of those songs most people can cover well either. Even many Elvis impersonators, you know, they sing great usually, but sounding like him, no, not in my opinion. They just can't quite match that tone. You about fell out of your chair. I've had a few of those moments, yeah. I think his new album was one of those moments for me where I just kind of stopped. Like I said, I was walking my dog Cassie. Maybe I was on the bike, I don't remember. But it might have been the first song even, because that's one of my favorites. I can't remember the name, but the first track. But I just kind of stopped and listened to it. And, you know, just staring off into space and listening to the song and listening to the voice. And just, wow, it really hit me and blessed me too in a big way. And another thing I've said is that not too many new bands and singers have given me that kind of experience. I mean, there's lots of Christian bands, right? I shouldn't say I haven't been blessed by newer Christian bands. That's not true. But what was different was it being a gospel singer, sort of a traditional gospel singer, because I didn't really grow up with that kind of music or listen to it much. It wasn't kind of in my toolbox as a musician growing up. I learned that music later in life. So for that kind of music in 2024 to have that kind of an effect on me and kind of make me like a new fan of him and just everything he does, but especially musically, that was a wow moment that I couldn't believe it was happening. Amen, Elaine. We can't wait till Jesus comes back. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I meant to keep it short, but there's always plenty to talk about, plenty of tangents about the Pastor Bob legacy, epic story and experience. So many things. Which is why I decided to do a book, because I had chapters of things that I've realized that I wanted to share with everybody. And I think, like I said, will be a good also reference to maybe a lot of you, or just help to bring it all together. So, you know, just bring it, all these things that have been floating around in my brain, and put it on paper or ebook. So it's looking like it'll be done and ready July next month, 2025, ebook and paperback. I just have some things to work out still, but you will know as soon as I know. And as always, I appreciate all your support, whether you're supporting this channel and MattSavinaMusic, The Voice Lives On, which we're kind of just still building, but that channel is also totally about Pastor Bob and EP, The Voice Lives On. And yeah, around and round we go. Yeah, and Lane, you want a signed version? I will definitely get that done for you. You've been an amazing supporter, so do not worry. That's a done deal. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. There is at least a video or two yet today I wanna get out to you all, and one of them might be live, but we'll see about that. And I have coffee to drink, which is staying hot in my new thermos. Little organic, weak coffee. I gotta drink weak coffee now because of everything my body has gone through this year, but it's still coffee. And just a little bit every day or almost every day is nice. So, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up there. It's been a good solid 20-minute powwow, little chat. And yeah, so I gave my rebuttal to Wings of Pegasus, but if you listen to this, if you're listening, Phil, hey, it looks like you got a great channel. But I totally do not agree with your voice analysis and yeah, just the theory in general. That is nowhere near enough to rebut the possibility that Pastor Bob was Elvis and is no longer. He is now transformed, renewed, saved, resaved, and Pastor Bob Joyce is doing great things. So we're supporting him on this channel and believing in that possibility, but just using the topic for bigger, better things, talking about God as well and our relationship. And yeah, this mystery is just drawing a lot of people to Pastor Bob and the gospel message. So there's nothing more important than that. And that's a blessing to all of us who are paying attention like you are right now. So thank you all. I'll see you again soon. Thank you for joining me. Take care and God bless.